Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So guys, sometimes I like to take a break from the news and focus on why we came here in the first place. And if you are an XRP investor and you're seeing the price in the dumps, you always have to remember that there are reasons why we got into this to begin with. Okay, right now we are still in a spec market. The cryptocurrency market is still young. All the cryptocurrencies are currently following Bitcoin, and so if Bitcoin's making new highs, you will likely see altcoins follow to a degree, right? They're never carbon copies of Bitcoin. And so this will happen with XRP, this will happen with Tron, this will happen with ADA, Cardano, IOTA, EOS, you name it. Altcoins will always tend to follow Bitcoin to a degree in a speculative market, the type of market we're in right now. But the reason you got into XRP is because it is going to change the world. There will be a higher demand for XRP needed in the near future, and more demand obviously equals a higher price depending on how much is available at any given time. And some people say, well, Bitcoin is going to be a means of exchange. There are other cryptocurrencies that are going to be doing well. But guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight on why Bitcoin was never meant, in my opinion, to really be a global currency, to really be that exchange of value that XRP is set out to be. And so this is an article back from August. Bitcoin and Ethereum were never meant to be a medium of exchange. And so Bitcoin and Ethereum have been around for many years. In almost 10 years, Bitcoin came a long way from digital money for geeks and a token for drug dealers to a billion-dollar asset. Ethereum became the largest decentralized network with thousands of developers, and their numbers are only growing over time. But still, they can't be used as a medium of exchange. Only a few stores currently accept Bitcoin, and almost nobody accepts Ethereum. Why is that the case? And so guys, the reason for this is the lack of scalability in these networks. Now, I know you guys are going to say, yeah, but what about the Lightning Network? Well, both Bitcoin and Ethereum have a very low throughput, around 7 TPS for BTC and 15 TPS, that's transactions per second, for Ethereum. This is a legacy problem of both networks, as they were the first blockchains aimed at solving their specific problems. So these are the two largest networks, and they can't even be used to buy a coffee. What happens if you try to buy a coffee with Bitcoin? It will cool down long before your money will reach the wallet of the coffee seller. If the whole world suddenly had to switch to Bitcoin in its payments, the lines at the store checkouts would be enormous. The whole network would be overloaded and stuck. So the author of this article suggests that its developer Satoshi Nakamoto probably didn't think that his creation would gain such popularity. So he sacrificed scalability to make the Bitcoin blockchain as secure and decentralized as he could. Scalability was a concern far from his mind at the time. Right? You got to remember, when so few people are using the network, the transactions will go through quicker because there just isn't that volume to clog up the network. I saw this tweet here from, originally it was from Anthony Pompliano. Bitcoin is the most secure computing network in the world. And then Ambi Nost asks, how much power does it use? Will Legate says, no one seems to ever ask this question about AWS. Why is it only Bitcoin? And then finally, Hasty Toro on Twitter, that's at Hasty Toro, says, what a great question. Annual power consumption. And so here is the annual power consumption of Bitcoin, guys, versus some other major websites that are popular today. So Bitcoin, 26.05 terawatts per hour. And so to give you guys an idea of what a terawatt is, 1 kilowatt is 1,000 watts, a megawatt is 1,000,000 watts, a gigawatt is 1,000,000,000 watts, and a terawatt is 1,000,000,000,000 watts, okay? 1,000,000,000,000 watts. And so guys, just to give you guys some perspective as well, Facebook uses 1.83 terawatts per hour, Amazon 7.2 terawatts, Apple 1.45, and Google 6.20, compared to Bitcoin using 26.05 terawatts per hour. Now, when you compare that to XRP uses 0.00053 terawatts. Guys, you can clearly see why XRP is considered to be scalable and why it is the cryptocurrency that has the potential to, if not be a global currency, be used around the globe for transactional purposes. It is the forerunner, guys. If we ever come to a point where we will need some type of universal currency for whatever reason, XRP is there to save the day. So guys, why is scalability so crucial? I saw this from the Daily Hodl. As cryptocurrencies continue to develop all around the world, we keep hearing new projects talking about the importance of scalability. But in most cases, their outcries for a better framework are quite vague. This doesn't mean that they're wrong. Scalability is probably the aspect of cryptocurrencies that keep them alive in the long run. Why? Because without good scalability to accommodate more and more people, the technology loses its primary value, speedy and efficient transactions. So guys, at a time in 2009, 2010, 2011, when vendors were using Bitcoin, the transactions were quite quick because very few people were transacting on the Bitcoin network. But ever since the bull run of 2017, Bitcoin going up to $20,000 per BTC, we saw the pains with the Bitcoin blockchain. I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the same boat as me, trying to get a Bitcoin transaction done, and it just didn't go through, or rather it took hours to go through. I remember those headaches of 2017. I care not to remember them, but unfortunately they have scarred me for life. XRP to the rescue, folks. When does scalability become an issue? Well, in order to determine the importance of this crucial part of the blockchain, we need to look at the most popular cryptocurrency out there, Bitcoin. Nearly every single crypto that has been created after Bitcoin has tried to one-up the pioneer, but fails to come close to its valuation. Despite the outdated nature of the Bitcoin blockchain, it's still one of the most in-demand cryptocurrencies out there, and therefore one of the most expensive. Even though the technology which Bitcoin is built upon cannot survive the rapid development phase of the tech industry in the future, people still cling to it, hoping for an update or some kind of modification that will ensure its survivability. And guys, this is where the Lightning Network was built out of. Bitcoin maximalists trying to cling at this antiquated technology, try to make sure that Bitcoin will one day be that global currency that it was destined to be. But to be honest, I think Satoshi Nakamoto was a pretty clever guy. I think that he, despite what that article said about he didn't really think about scalability, or rather he put it as a secondary priority, I think he realized that, this is kind of the beginning of cryptocurrency. And so I also believe that he didn't think that it would be as big as it is. So this article continues to go on. I'll try not to read all of it. What is the problem with Bitcoin? Very limited scalability due to its limited block size for recording transactions and verifying them through the appropriate hash. So it talks a little bit about block size, and of course Bitcoin was created. The Bitcoin blocks are 1 megabyte in size, and so of course that will hinder the throughput of transactions. Kind of explains it right here. Due to the fact that millions of transactions are happening nearly every week or every day, new blocks are required. The speed at which these miners can verify transactions, create new blocks, fill them up, and continue the process is slowly starting to diminish. The mining complexity keeps on getting harder, which taxes the hardware that miners are forced to replace nearly every year for better efficiency. The constant halving reduces the income, and increased number of Bitcoin traders creates more and more demand for faster processing. So guys, this is part of it as well. It's a proof of work concept. So there are miners working and their computers are working, and they're saying in this article that in order to upkeep with the demand, they need better and better systems, faster, more efficient systems. And so even just as an aside, think of all those computers that are probably perfectly fine and good going into a landfill because these miners need better systems every year in order to mine enough Bitcoin to fulfill the demand. Sooner or later, all of this reaches a bottleneck where hundreds, if not thousands, of transactions remain pending while miners are trying to create new blocks and list all of the transactions for confirmation. The only way to avoid waiting is the pending section to pay additional fees, and guys, this is why it is not scalable. The fees are paid by the person who is making the transaction, therefore some cost is added. As the numbers of transactions increases, the number of pending transactions increases as well. The fees are going to become larger and larger, reaching a point where it won't be feasible to make small transfers with Bitcoin. And guys, this is where XRP thrives. It can be used to send thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worldwide, but it can also be used to send fractions, micropayments across borders. And so I found this article here from Cointelegraph, and it's from earlier this year, January 2019. Who scales it best? Inside blockchain's ongoing transactions per second race. And ultimately it is slightly biased towards some of the other cryptocurrencies, even though XRP is listed here as projected by the company to be able to do 50,000 transactions per second, but they have really confirmed about 1,500. Qtum is up here on the list as well. It gives a little snapshot of all these different cryptocurrencies. I'm just going to read you the one for Ripple. According to Ripple, XRP, the digital asset used in the company's cross-border payment system, consistently handles 1,500 transactions per second. Moreover, it allegedly takes just around 4 seconds for payments to settle. Guys, did you hear that right? 4 seconds. Well, XRP can scale up to 50,000 transactions per second to handle the same throughput as Visa. However, unlike most other cryptocurrencies mentioned in this article, Ripple doesn't have a blockchain. For that purpose, the company has its own patented technology, the Ripple Protocol Consensus Algorithm. Consequently, XRP has been disregarded as a cryptocurrency by part of the community, just because there are so many Bitcoin maxi haters out there who think that the Lightning Network is going to solve all their problems. Well, guys, time to grow up. Time to understand that reality is going to sink in one day and you will be sorely, sorely mistaken. One day you will realize this. Of course, this is why we are waiting for mass adoption. This is why a lot of us can't wait for that demand of XRP to go through the roof and for our XRP to be more valuable than it is currently today, sitting in and around the 25, 26, 27, whatever it's trading at right this second. Guys, one day it will be worth more. Just sit on it and you will see. A couple of more tweets I saw here, and so this, of course, was from 2017. This has to do with XRP. This is actually from Ripple themselves, at Ripple on Twitter. XRP sets the standard for scalability at 1,500 transactions per second, and so it gives you guys a great visual representation of transactions per second and those little dots moving there. As you can see, those are representative of the transactions. Dash at 10, BTC at 16, Ethereum at 16, BTCH 24, Litecoin at 56, and look at XRP. Look at that flow of transactions that can be accomplished every single second. This was done on November 29th, 2017. So a couple of years old, guys, but that's not to say that Ripple doesn't keep improving the network. They've got a great team behind them. And so it's only a matter of time before the mass adoption occurs. And I've said this before in other videos. Once that mass adoption occurs, you know how we've been hearing about all those partnerships, right? All those rumblings that this bank is testing RippleNet and that bank is testing RippleNet and this financial institution is testing and that one and this one. And we heard all this great news in 2018 and the beginning part of 2019 as well. I think once those regulations come to pass and these companies get the green light to move, we are going to start seeing companies adopt RippleNet like nobody's business. Brad Garlinghouse has even said himself, right? It's the network. It's building the network that is really going to make Ripple and XRP successful. And this is great, okay? This is great from Stephen Dieppe. I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter. That's at Dieppe, San with an H, S-A-N-H. And this to all the XRP haters out there. If XRP is truly an SHIT coin, it will organically fail on its own. You don't have to make videos and write articles to prove how SHIT XRP is. Save your time, save your life. I couldn't have said it better myself, Stephen. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on scalability, XRP versus Bitcoin, why Bitcoin is good in the sense that it can be a store of value, digital gold as they say, but it'll never be a global world currency so long as XRP exists. Anyways, I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.